Good evening, and welcome once again to Hallowicked's Arcade of Terror, where we only play games that contain Frankenstein's monster, executioners, barbarians, giants, dragons, skeletons, or anything else that might cause you to lose valuable sleep. And of course, we do it all for the glory of Muldoon. Things around Sleepy Hollow have been eventful since we started this series, so in case this is your first time joining us, allow me to bring you up to speed. Our technomancer, Dox the Malevolent, brought us Nezkrava's sphere of suffering and was subsequently consumed by it. In an attempt to reach Dox, we used a Ouija board, which allowed Nezkrava himself to escape, leaving terrible rapper MC Wintersquall's soul as the new power within the sphere. I have the sphere covered up, which seems to prevent it from activating and playing Wintersquall's ear-piercing bars. Oh, and one other thing. Nezkrava may or may not have possessed this starting lineup figure of Philadelphia Flyers great and known psychopath Ron Hextall. Now that you're caught up, let's get to the matter at hand. Tonight, in an Arcade of Terror first, we'll be playing a professional wrestling video game. It's WCW NWO Revenge for the Nintendo 64. But Hallowicked, how can a wrestling game be a horror game? Well, this is no average wrestling game. Not only does it contain all the monsters I listed in the intro, it also has buckets of blood, tombstones, and lightning strikes. Am I stretching a bit? Perhaps, but this is my show, and I can do whatever I please with it. Here, watch. Worm food. Play some B-roll of something horrible. But there is another reason I'm playing a pro wrestling game. It's for its ability to simulate real-world matchups. I'd like to share with you a dream of mine, nay, a nightmare of mine, for the most diabolical pro wrestling tournament of all time. I call it Muldoon's Invitational Grappling Horrors Tournament, or NIGHT for short. It's a 16-person, well, being a person isn't really a requirement for competing. It's a 16 living thing. Well, being alive isn't really a requirement either. It's a 16 entity tournament made up of skeletons, vampires, goths, witches, warlocks, or any other child of darkness. This tournament would be held annually, close to but never on Halloween, so as not to encroach on the already busy schedule of its participants. The winner of this single elimination tournament would be given the honorary title Battle Axe of Muldoon, and as such awarded an engraved battle axe to commemorate their victory. But alas, conditions in the crumbling society that surrounds us makes this tournament a nightmare only. So I'm going to use the Nintendo 64 classic Revenge to simulate how a tournament like this might play out. Now let's take a look at the 16 competitors and why I chose each of them. Executioner, an executioner, in. La Parka, a skeleton, in. Mortis, another skeleton, in. AKI Man, an alien or android, in. Glacier, some sort of frost demon, in. Ultimo Dragon, a dragon, in. Barbarian, a barbarian, in. The Giant, a giant, in. Dr. Frank, either a misnamed Dr. Frankenstein's monster or a reference to legendary ringside physician Dr. Frank Romaskevich. Either way, in. Psychosis, a psycho, in. Scott Steiner, a genetic freak, in. Rick Steiner, the dog-faced gremlin, in. Sting, a possible goth, in. Now around this point, I had to start making some exceptions just to fill out the tournament. I'm a big Raven fan, so I was going to shoehorn him into the tournament one way or another. I will say, in real life, Raven once mislabeled me as a stoner. So I'm going to mislabel him as a second goth, in. Rey Mysterio Jr., quite possibly the greatest of all time. Plus, he has sick Halloween-specific gear, in. I labored over my final pick, because there's no one left that really fits the true qualifications for NIGHT. There are no demons, no yetis, and there are no wizards left on this roster. So, with my final pick, I went with, drumroll please, swine snot, the realest American, the immortal Hulk Hogan. Just kidding, f*** Hulk Hogan, he's out. My real final pick is Bret the Hitman Hart. Now it is my firm belief that Bret Hart should be in, or at least present at, every pro wrestling tournament. And he's technically also a murderer for hire. Another feature of the night tournament is that all the first round matches are going to be randomly determined by a computer. A haunted computer. A haunted computer that runs on human blood, which of course we do have. So I had my technical wizard, Snake Mother, whip us up a program that would determine all those first round matches. Let's see what it came up with. Oh glory, Snake Mother. No doubt you've knocked this one out of the park. Setting registers. Here we go. Match 1. Sting vs. Glacier. Psychosis vs. Rick Steiner. AKI Man takes on Mortis. Raven against Ultimo Dragon. La Parka faces Dr. Frank. Rey Mysterio Jr. vs. Executioner. Barbarian takes on Bret Hart. And finally, Scott Steiner against the Giant. Yes, indeed, Snake Mother. All glory, Naz Muldoon. With the field filled and the opening matches set, let's kick off the first ever virtual Naz Muldoon's Invitational Grappling Horrors Tournament. We kick off with Sting vs. Glacier. Glacier comes right out of the gate, ironically red hot, bloodying and tapping out Sting in under 2 minutes. Now that is how you make a statement. Next up, we have Psychosis taking on Rick Steiner. A bloodied Psychosis does all he can to fight off the more powerful Rick Steiner. But the dog-faced gremlin clobbers his way to our first knockout victory. Next up, we have Mortis, R.I.P., taking on AKI Man. This match was a striking fan's dream. These two threw out punches, kicks, and elbows like they were going out of style. In the end, though, the humble sleeper puts AKI Man to rest. Next up, we have one of my favorites to win, Raven, taking on the legendary Ultimo Dragon. Ultimo Dragon's technical prowess proved no match for Raven's underhanded tactics, as he takes every shortcut imaginable before ending the match with a John Woo dropkick. Next, another favorite of mine, La Parka, takes on Dr. Frank Romaskevich. A skeleton and a monster beating each other bloody is peak night. La Parka advances with La Magistral Cradle. Next up, we'll see strong GOAT contender Rey Mysterio Jr. face off against the mysterious Executioner. This was difficult to watch. The much larger Executioner absolutely dismantles Mysterio before ending the match with a side headlock takeover. A side headlock takeover. That is no way for a legend of this magnitude to be eliminated. But we must respect the results. Next up, we'll see my hand-picked entry, Bret Hart, take on the much-feared Barbarian. Bret Hart moves on, thank Naz Muldoon, with a textbook bridging German suplex. Who would expect anything less? Our round 1 main event will see Scott Steiner take on the Giant. Two heavyweight titans collide, but the Giant establishes himself as the powerhouse to beat in this tournament. That does it for round 1. We saw plenty of blood, wins by pinfall, submission, knockout. Round 2 is shaping up to be quite a... the spear again. Winner squall. Give me that box.
Bring the shovel, bring the sword.
Go to commercial. What do you mean we don't have any sponsors? Put the tournament graphic up. We've got the sphere under control for now, so we're ready for round 2, where we'll see the hell-bent on winning Glacier take on the gritty, dog-faced gremlin himself, Rick Steiner. Wow, Glacier again bloodies his opponent early, but the DFG does an G and F and rallies, hitting Glacier with a flying shoulder tackle. Next up, we'll see Raven take on Mortis. Raven cleans up his act from round 1, electing not to repeatedly foul his opponent, and it costs him elimination, as Mortis prevails with an apron suplex. Next up, we'll see La Parka take on the mysterious Executioner. Another match, another favorite of mine eliminated, as La Parka, bloodied and beaten, eats a huge spinning back fist in the corner. Shout out Eddie Kingston, and Executioner walks away with the win. The last quarterfinal matchup, we'll see Bret Hart take on the massive Giant. Bret Hart pulls out the win with the classic backslide. There's a reason that move is taught in every wrestling training program in the world. Simple and effective. With that, we're ready for the semi-final round. We've got Rick Steiner. We've got Bret Hart. We've got Executioner. Winner skull. Give me the bin. The one with melt stuff in.
Bring the shovel, bring the sword, bring the snow plow. When you head,
put up the graphic. You can cut the tension with a knife here in the dungeon as we head into the semi-final round. The first match will be Rick Steiner against Mortis. Who will survive? Mortis ends a bloody Rick Steiner's tournament run with a corkscrew clothesline, sending himself through to the final round. But who will he face? Will it be the excellence of execution, Bret the Hitman Hart, or the execution of execution, Executioner, the Executioner, Executioner? Let's find out. I can't say I'm happy to see Bret Hart leave without the battle axe, but it is hard to argue that the 2 remaining finalists do not 100% represent what this tournament is all about. So, before we check out the finals, let's have another look at that sweet graphic. Mortis versus Executioner. It all comes down to this: who will prevail and be named Battle Axe of Naz Muldoon? Who will be immortalized this evening? And who will live on in shame? Let's find out. we have a winner. Executioner wins the day and is named Battle Axe of Muldoon after a grueling 31-minute war with Mortis. Executioner, we hail thee. WCW NWO Revenge needs no review. If you played the game, you already know this. If you haven't, don't waste another second of your life. Find a Nintendo 64. Find a copy of this game. I personally got mine from my man Garth at Sleepy Hollow's own Unclaimed Fright video game and costume shop. But if a soulless corporate train is your only option, grab a brick, throw it through the front window, and get yourself a copy. Grab one for a friend while you're at it. It does not disappoint. As for the tournament winner's prize, I said there would be an engraved battle axe. But since it makes little sense to present a physical object to a simulacron version of Executioner, we'll settle on a different prize. This t-shirt was sent to me by fellow wrestler and perennial thorn in my side, Dan Champion. It was apparently a gift for Snake Mother, but I have intercepted it and am awarding it to myself as curator of this tournament. Dan Champion, I don't know how you got the address here, but I suggest you lose it post-haste and cease all further attempts at communicating with Snake Mother. I am keeping this t-shirt from her, for her own good, and not simply because it depicts skeletons. Remember to follow me on Twitter. Tune in to IWTV for the latest episodes. And now, subscribe to our new YouTube channel at youtube.com/Arcade of Terror, where we promise to have plenty of other horrors in store for you. And of course, most importantly, all glory, Muldoon!
Blizzards,
It's
ice
Winter
storms,
Squall.
a white
He's
owl.
controlling objects outside the sphere. Not even Nezkrabah could do that. Trash juice, pull the power, now!